Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Drew Creel, and I'm a guitar player, and I live in the Nashville area, and you are watching Shred Sessions. This is episode 11 of one of the coolest metal podcasts ever to be created. And today we have a great show prepared for you. I have my good pal, Christian Colabelli from New Jersey, right?
You got it.
He has landed on fertile soil here in Nashville, Tennessee. So, dude, thank you for coming on the show, man, and hanging out.
Thank you so much for having me. Super gracious host. Good to see this guy. We just jammed out, and it was sick, man.
Yeah.
We just played for the last 3 hours.
Yeah, I'll put the song that we recorded at the beginning of this video so people can check it out. But yeah, we did several takes, man. There's like maybe 25 takes of that, but everything that you heard was live, okay? So we did not edit anything.
No, and Drew sent this over today at like 11, and you're like, hey man, like thinking about playing this later, let's do it. And there's some complex changes in there. I mean, it's super cool tune, but you know,
it's fusion, man.
Yeah, we had
jazz rock fusion, right?
We had very little time to prepare for this, but whatever, man.
I had a great time.
I did
too. Dude, that
man.
was fun.
Yeah,
we literally played for like 3 hours.
I would have done it. I would have
take after take after take.
I would have definitely played till probably tomorrow to get that to where I thought it should be.
It was fun, man. You know, it was so cool and
super sick.
Yeah, I wanna let people know, like, you and I kind of go way back, and really our one connection is Mr. Frank Pasquale, who's like kind of a childhood mentor of mine. And he's from Hampshire, Illinois. He still lives there with his family. And I'm from like the Tri-City area of Chicago. And kind of as the story goes, there's a guy that went to my church named Dave Bauer. And Frank built a couple guitars for him. I saw those guitars as like a 16-year-old kid and was like, those guitars are amazing. They were like super shredder guitars, like Ibanez kind of style guitars. And so I called Frank up, and he built a guitar for me. But several years later, after me getting to know Frank and his wife Fonzel, Christian had Frank build him a guitar. You want to tell him about that?
Okay, so this is kind of crazy. I think this is nuts because this is totally not me at all. But somehow I was on LinkedIn and
yes.
and Pasquale Guitars came up, and I'm like, first of all, being a New Jersey Italian and seeing the Italian name, I was like, this is
guitars.
So cool. I was like, what is this? I have an Uncle Sonny whose real name is Pasquale. So I was like, okay, this is pretty sick. And then I saw the RG shape, and I saw that he built with a lot of natural woods. And
that's kind of your thing. You're into that.
I love
and
natural
what's
wood
weird
guitars.
Is that's the first Pasquale guitar that I saw as a kid was like a natural wood guitar. And I just fell in love with that.
And yours was like a slab of mahogany, right? It was like a
actually,
big
I'm just
chunk.
gonna grab it right now. It's like It's literally right over here.
Yeah, man.
I've talked about this guitar on this show a couple times.
So sick.
But here it is. Yeah, he made this thing, and this was my first like really, really, really nice guitar. I had an Ibanez S2020X that my dad bought me.
Super
was
cool.
An amazing guitar, and the tone on that was out of this world. But
wow,
this guitar has a much like darker kind of sound, and it's very unique. It has EMGs, but I think the mahogany. In fact, I'm right. The mahogany impacts the tone like drastically. With this guitar.
That combo with the mahogany slab body, the thick maple cap top, which is definitely that's not a veneer, that's like a big maple cap.
Yeah.
3/16 probably, and then the maple neck on top of that is the most classic tone combo. HSH, that's like
ebony fingerboard.
Yeah, dude,
Sustain.
I have a couple J Customs from 2013 with like a topaz top with the same exact specs as that sound like they have just, the most stock DiMarzios, Tone Zone, Aaron Norton, and what's the True Velvet or some type of velvet in the middle, and it's the same exact wood type, and it's just so thick and punchy, and that guitar is very, very similar to that. So that's like a classic tone wood combo.
when you palm mute on this guitar, there's like this like low end thing that happens.
It's the thwack.
And this one is in D standard because I'm gonna hopefully be doing some Symphony X like studying, so this is gonna be my Symphony X guitar. It is a 22 fretter, so maybe I don't know, maybe I won't be able to play some of the notes, but original Floyd Rose with the Floyd Rose upgrades, FU tone.
Yeah,
everybody knows about that company.
Noiseless springs in the back.
Yeah, with this big brass block, and dude, sustained for days.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, like what was the process like, having Frank build you a guitar?
Okay, so it's crazy. I reached out to him. I think the first message may have been on LinkedIn because I was just like checking it out, and I stumbled across it. I'm like, dude, these are really cool RGs that I can customize. And I basically told him, I am so anal about specs on a guitar. And I told him what I wanted, and I was like, can you do this? Because I could never find, I was in that stage where I was like, I could not find there's never a perfect guitar, but I just couldn't find one to my specs that I thought were incredible, because like every shredder guitar usually has a super wide, like 1 3/4 fingerboard with a D style, neck carve in the back. And I want it like a 1 5/8, like slim, like more of a Fender type feel.
So when you say specs, you're talking about like a very specific neck shape.
Neck shape.
And Frank was like, I could make any neck shape you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is how crazy this got. He told me to basically get a caliper because I was telling him about 3 different guitars. I have a Fender Custom Shop Strat that has like the most perfect neck on it that I've never found in another guitar. Like
how would you describe like that neck shape?
It's a C neck shape, but
isn't that every Fender Strat?
No, because some of them are I don't feel like any two Fenders are identical. And in the 60s on Fender Strats, they had what is called the oval C, which is super shallow, but like can come up very high in the shoulders. And this is really more of a 59 neck carve, which has a little bit more of a medium. It's not as thin and tall, but it's got a little bit very, very minute in terms of having more mass. And it reminded me of the Les Paul that I grew up. I grew up my first electric was a Gibson The Paul 2, which is a thin body Les Paul, which has just like a medium scene. It's like a
more affordable one for like a student,
guitar,
right?
$800 guitar. Still have it, love it. Played it all over the world, literally, and it's incredible. And this Fender reminded me of some type of version of that neck, but it was a little bit thinner. Okay, so I told him I loved this neck, and I love my my Ibanez J Customs. I love how thin that neck was, but I didn't like how high it was.
That's a U shape, right?
That's a thin U, a thin U. This is it's a specific wizard. These J Customs are a super wizard. So that's
super wizard, bro.
So they're I mean, dude, it is this thin, which I love. I love those guitars to death. I don't even care that they have the high shoulders because it just fits I have real small hands. So I sacrifice a little bit with the depth of it, but just how thin they are, you can absolutely fly on that thing, and you never think about the guitar. You just think about playing, or you just play, So I told Frank, I'm like, I want you to split the difference between this. And he's like, get a caliper, give me all these measurements. And he literally knew I was neurotic. He was like, this guy's out of his mind. Because
I think I remember him.
He did.
Telling
he was
me
like,
that.
"This guy's crazy."
He was like, Christian is very specific about his like neck.
Yeah, I was like, it's like either I get this, he's like, I'll try this and I'll give it a crack. He was gonna go as far as to like send back several. I think he may have sent me a prototype neck that I just checked out, and then. I opted for a bolt-on guitar because I love that sound.
Yeah.
So I've never seen another neck like this, and it's currently residing in my friend Matt Guglielmo, who is the drummer in all my original bands. He now plays an Acacia Strain and
drummer, right?
Great drummer, great producer.
And he played drums in Circuitry.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Circuitry.
I could talk.
And we did another project called Sight Harvest, and we just recorded another project, a full record actually, which it's pretty cool. It's got Ray Sui from 6 Feet Under on it, and
killer, man.
Yeah, who else is on that? Wait, Matt Lang, who's this unbelievable like sound design dude, and like he actually was Grammy nominated for his EDM thing. Like he's super talented dude from Berkeley, worked for Avid for a while. So he did a lot of and he's a cool writer too. Like really has his stuff together, has a vision, you know?
Very cool. Dude, that Acacia Strain double album thing that they did recently, that's probably my favorite stuff that they've done since maybe like Wormwood.
Yeah.
It's like ultimate gym music, man.
It's evil, man.
Did Matt play on that?
You know what? I don't think I don't know the answer to that.
He's just the touring drummer.
No, now he's the drummer. Now he's the drummer. So whatever they put, I don't know when he.
So maybe more recently?
Officially, yes. Okay. That was over the last year. When did they record that record?
It's been less than a year ago. He might
have played on it. I honestly don't know, but he does.
Someone check the comments. What's his Matt
Guglielmo.
Guglielmo.
About as New Jersey as it gets.
We'll look that up. Yeah, heck yeah,
Guglielmo. So yeah, where was I going? He plays an N too, and you know he does a lot of studio stuff. Whether it's him, he's a great producer. So, anyways, we did this project. It's more 90s aggressive. Like I don't want to say new metal, but it's definitely in that vein. It's more like Deftones Adrenaline, but now there's so many bands trying to rip off that sound that I don't want to say that because I think it's totally different than that.
Who's doing vocals on this thing? You?
I can't release that yet.
Oh, okay.
There's someone in mind, but it's.
So what do you guys want to do with this?
I don't know.
Okay.
But we were just like, we wanted
to
put
it out and maybe play some shows if you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this was something that we've all kind of been into this style for a while and wanted to lay something down, and everyone's schedules are so crazy with the playing and traveling that we finally this took like a year. We've had these demos for like maybe actually 2 years, and I finally took like last week before I got here to just lay it down.
And what is that project called, just for anybody that might be interested?
Don't even have a name yet.
Okay.
We haven't even decided on that.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
You can come back on the show and talk about it.
I will. If we ever, who knows what will happen with that. But dude, it sounds vicious, man. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. But anyways, my Pasquale custom is residing in Matt's studio, and it's been there that's like my studio guitar. I actually I had before the pandemic, I ended up moving out of my apartment. I had my stuff all over the place. I got really sick with COVID, and I left a lot of gear at Matt's place because I trusted it that it was gonna be there, and I didn't know where I was gonna end up living. So a lot of my stuff, like my Bogner Ecstasy, my Diesel VH4.
Oh my gosh, you have a VH4, bro?
I have a VH4 that I got with an original transformer. That's a killer amp.
Yeah, it's a murder weapon, dude.
He uses it. It's cool that he stores it and keeps it safe, and it's cool that it's ending up on like a lot of these recordings that he's doing. And I never know where I've been like a transient for the past 3 years. Now I'm in Nashville. If I end up settling here, then I can move stuff around, but it's just better to have it there for right now. So I have my Pasquale with the super thin C neck. I've never seen a neck like this. It's literally a C that's like razor thin. It's almost like it's a better version of or a more comfortable for me version of the Petrucci Music Man neck. Cool. It's like in that vein, I would say.
Very cool.
But it doesn't make your hand cramp up as much as that. For me, it did.
Yeah.
I know that's I'm not talking crap on that because that's an iconic guitar. But
what's awesome about what Frank does is you just tell him what you're interested in and what you want, and he'll make it happen. And he was working really hard for several years. He
worked his ass off
on building his company. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows everything about tone woods and pickups and fret wire, and I mean, dude, he was all in on it. He's built me at least 3 guitars. But when he was really going for like launching his company, he had like I think 23 or 24 guitars built. Like he just built them, like
so crazy,
just to get better
handmade.
to get better at the craft. And unfortunately, you know, he didn't end up like making guitars as regularly as it's just so competitive with all the machinery that's out there and things getting cheaper overseas.
Plus sourcing the wood, sourcing the material. I mean, he actually wax potted his own pickups for that guitar too. And I was like, this is so crazy. This guy literally hand built this whole thing.
Yeah, he's committed to it. Very talented dude, and he's been someone that I could bounce ideas off of or call when I was younger. Wanted some advice, I could call Frank.
He's a cool dude,
and
man.
He would talk to me for as long as I wanted to talk to him. And so, dude, I hope you watch this. But what I love about,
he shreds too, dude.
He plays the hell out of some thrash metal guitar.
Yeah.
But what I love about that whole story is like I got to meet another guitar player that liked the same kind of music as me, Christian.
Yep.
And we were like more or less online friends for like the last 10 years or more.
Yep.
And now you live here, dude. And we just shredded for 3 hours and it was awesome.
I met Drew in person. I was the product manager at Eventide for like 4.5 years or 4 3/4 years. And I met him at Summer Namm here, right?
Yeah. That was
in person.
The last Summer Namm that happened in Nashville.
Was that 2021 or 2?
I do know.
20?
I think that was 19.
19.
That was like right before because they didn't do a Summer Namm because of the pandemic. They've just been doing, as far as I know, they've been doing just Winter Namm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of out of the loop on that.
Well, the last Namm they did was weird. It was the last Namm that I was at was I think in 2022, and they did it during June, like in Anaheim, and it was bizarre.
It was weird.
There was nobody there, dude, but it was cool because you could interface. Like we were about to introduce this new pedal, and I got to spend time with like Tosin and
the Rose. Is that the pedal?
No,
you were involved in that though.
That was more what I was involved in. I was involved more in the .9 series of pedals, but that was actually the H90. We were showing it to like very select people before it dropped, so we were showing it to, and I didn't really, because I was working on the .9 series. That was really my compatriot Patrick Flores' baby, who did a phenomenal job with that.
The H90's cool. I actually used to have one. And it was great, but I kind of went through this thing where I sold a bunch of gear. But it's a great pedal, man. It's powerful.
The sounds in the Eventide stuff are incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, you could say whatever you want, but like the mid range for a digital pedal, you would never know that that's digital.
It's studio grade. You could run a vocal mic through their reverb chain or their delay, and
people do.
You could use the H90 as like a desktop in like outboard piece of gear.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, they make amazing stuff.
But that was the last Namm, and we did get a chance to interface with like Josh Smith, Mark Letary, like James Ivany, like all these great players that were so different. The common thread is they're all genius players.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. Tosin, he used it. It's on Red Miso. That's an Ultra Tap.
Oh,
I mean, that's
what
that
cool
rhythmic
song.
thing.
Yeah, you play a note and it kind of has a stutter to it. Yeah.
If you look at the demo, like I did all those demo videos during that time period. Well, for the .9 series, but it was the same thing. Like there's a part in the demo song for the Ultra Tap .9 pedal where we're just hitting like one note and it's going dun, 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 it's freaking sick, man.
Yeah. So no, there's a lot of songs inside those Eventide algorithms and presets. Like
it's a great inspiration.
They're there waiting for you.
Yeah.
But I find that with gear, a lot of the time, it's just so underutilized, man. Like, people, especially guitar players, man, we like things to be easy for us. And there is something to be said of like really well done user interface.
Yes.
Where things are easy to use, and the example that I'll use is Line 6.
That's the best.
And the Helix platform is just so visual and so easy to use and dial in a sound.
They're so good with that.
I haven't found anything that comes close to that in the digital world, and I've used a few different things. I really enjoyed the Eventide iPad setup where you could connect to your H9. They're all different colors, and there was a minimal amount of stuff to play with, but I could create sounds with that. I will say with the H90, it was harder to create stuff with that.
It's really tough, and I think that's the downside of, because it's a development company, I think a lot, and there's some really talented developers there, I think like sometimes the player doesn't get considered as much as like, hey, and I do in some regards applaud that, because it's art, and they
it's their art,
and it's a development based company. Whereas like Line 6 is really considering like, hey, here's a live player that can really needs this to be as easy and seamless as possible. I mean, if you are utilizing Eventide stuff in a MIDI context to where everything is programmed, or if you use like my friends like Ryan Keller, the Aux 9, the Barn 3 Aux 9, if you're utilizing
great tool.
If you're utilizing an aux switch to like unlock some of that stuff, and you have all your stuff programmed out, and there's no, kind of like, oh boy, what am I doing here? Then it's cool. Like if you really, really learn it, it's cool. But in terms of just ease of use UI, there is just no comparison for the Line 6 stuff. They've always been good at that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see if they'll put something new out that has maybe higher quality sound and more DSP. And because I mean, at least online, people are saying like, the Line 6 Helix came out in 2014. It's so outdated. It doesn't compare at all to the Quad Cortex or the Universal Audio stuff. Have you compared any of that? Any of those things? The only
time I've only used the Quad Cortex plugin, or I mean, Neural DSP plugins.
Yeah.
And they feel great. I have to say, they feel very like that. I put up a quick video of my first time playing in Nashville in my apartment there, and dude, it sounds like a freaking real amp. I mean, like, and it felt like it.
It's amazing.
It's pretty sick.
The last guest that I had on, Brandon Adams, he uses the archetype Rabia Masad.
Oh,
Rabia
that
Masad
guy's sick. Yeah.
He loves that plugin, and he gets crazy good results with his recordings with that stuff. And I know that Neural is incorporating their desktop plugins into the Quad Cortex hardware.
Oh yeah,
and that's already started.
Oh yeah.
So have you checked out the small version of that yet?
I hear that is not being received super well.
It doesn't seem to be. Yeah.
I don't know enough. I can't talk on something that I haven't played personally.
For sure.
It's tough, but like I am interested in seeing what the Quad Cortex is like in a live context, because like in Circuitry, in my time out playing, we did everything with Axe-FX 2 XL.
Yeah, dude.
like and it was all MIDI sequence, and it was all, the computer was triggering everything, because I was doing.
Did you set all that up?
Dude, I stink at that stuff. Like Matt and Joel, who was in the band before, like those guys are very good at this.
Like when you go to a lead, it just automatically timed MIDI to the set.
Yes, I never stepped. I didn't even have a board up front. Like I just did the set, because that set was so freaking crazy, and it was so precise, and there's so many wacky things happening, and I was also doing like harmony vocals, so like I'm playing all this crazy like tap stuff, like, and or just hard technical stuff that's like requires like you got to really like know the stuff to really crush it, and that's the last thing that you want to worry about is
stepping
tap
on a
dancing.
pedal.
Right, it's not that gig, like you got to know the gig, like whereas like when I play like with artists or like with like the dueling piano guys, it's a Fender amp with a King of Tone. I mean, that's it. And like a real small board.
Yeah, you did a really cool video with Barn 3 recently, man, where you kind of talked about your background, and you guys are kind of building a pedal board together. And what is the other cat's name in that video?
Ryan Keller.
Ryan Keller's like asking you questions.
He's awesome.
Like tell me about this, tell me about that, and your board is like, it's like a King of Tone and Eventide H9 and like one other thing.
Yeah,
and that just goes straight into a Fender amp mono.
And I've been doing that type of thing, some iteration of that. So that board, not the one we built that day, that was even more streamlined, but my normal like fly rig board that I've taken all over the place is literally a King of Tone because it has a dual gain stage, which is phenomenal. An EP booster, Exotic Effects, absolutely essential pedal. Like,
what does that do,
dude? It's based on the Echoplex. So a lot of players realized that when the Echoplex was on, but there was no delay, it would open up like your tone. It would just kind of give this 3D
I've heard of that
sound
before, and I know like was it Dunlop did like a Echoplex where you could get the tone box, and then next to that you get the delay box.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's like these black pedals. Dudes at Eastside Music Supply told me about those years ago. Yeah. Tell me more about that. Sorry.
No, that's good. That's a great question and great thing to bring up. But the EP booster is so sick because it's literally this big. It's like you can put it on the corner of the board and just keep it on. And I know some guys that will have it in the front of the board and then have one as an actual dedicated boost. But on this board I have that that's the last thing in my chain. So that's boosting literally everything. Okay.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool, but it's always on.
I'll put a picture of your board in this video. We'll drop it in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really talk about this specifically, but it is an Eventide. It's one of those black edition H9s, and I have like my 10 presets that I created in the the Eventide, like the H9 control. And dude, it's I have it really laid out very well. Like anything I need, and I use the Barn 3 Aux 9 to just basically scroll through those presets. The most useful preset on that is literally the digital delay, and I have the Tesla Tap, which is another Barn 3 product. It allows you to access the hot switch. So on all of these Eventide presets, you have a switch that basically becomes another function within the algorithm. So it's basically like an A and B. So the coolest thing that I have is honestly on this, when I kick on my digital delay, it boosts it. I have it set to where when that preset comes on, it boosts it 3 or 4 decibels. I don't know, somewhere around there. And then the hot switch, I can either turn the delay off or have it on, which is like super useful because then I can have a wet, like real, just very like 3D style, like
solo tone.
Yeah, like a traditional solo tone, or I can just do it dry, which I love, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I love playing dry to where it's only your hands. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what
cool. It's very Nuno Betancourt.
Yeah, man. And it just pushes the amp into such an unbelievable overdrive. And then I have like one of those .9. It's crazy. It's called a .0 pedal, and it's literally an engineer pedal that they use to pass around to test algorithms, and I can load whatever algorithm I want on it just because I worked at the company.
Oh, yeah, you won that one.
No, dude, I just keep micro pitch on it most of the time, which is cool.
Micro pitch is cool, man.
Yeah, man. It's like a dry chorusing. So it's like that's during the Van Hagar era.
Yeah.
That's what he would use to really get that giant amp sound.
I love that sound.
I love Mike Stern too, so it's like,
oh yeah, he used like the Yamaha SPD unit for his micro pitch kind of thing, right?
Dude, I don't know I think originally he just literally had 2 amps on stage, and one was slightly tuned. They were detuned, and he had like actual natural.
To me, that is sick.
That's the sickest thing ever.
And when he solos with that stuff,
dude.
Oh,
he's one of my favorites of all time.
Stern rules, man.
He's incredible.
You mentioned something about he got an injury recently.
Yeah,
tell me about that, man.
This is crazy because I was asking Drew if he knew. We talked about Mike or brought him up a little bit. He's just such a ferocious player, and unfortunately, I think in like maybe right before the pandemic, he slipped on a street in New York on like a patch of ice, and he fell down on his right hand and he got severe nerve damage.
Ugh.
And this guy is such a ferocious, not only does he have like time, feel, his nickname's Fat Time, actually. Miles gave him that nickname. So this guy's just, his technique, his time, his ideas, his harmonic chops, just freaking nasty and such a signature tone. And unfortunately, from falling on that, on his right hand, man, it's not funny, but he like endured severe nerve damage to where he couldn't play guitar and he had to relearn how to pick. And if you look now, he picks like totally different than what it used to be. You know, still downward pick slanter, but now he's like this way and he has to glue the pick. And he learned this. This is crazy.
This stuff pisses me off, man, that people go through this stuff.
And it's crazy because there's I don't know the drummer's name, but it's one of Mike's friends. And
Dennis Chambers?
No, this guy was burned severely in a fire.
Oh gosh.
And like suffered like scarring and like disfigurement, but he like had the same thing where he had to like glue the sticks to his hands to hold them. And he told Mike about like wig glue or something to keep like the pick in his hand. I think that's what he's using. Dude, is this a crazy story or what?
Do you need any more reason to like practice your guitar? When you hear about stuff like this, it's like when guys are freaking gluing picks and sticks to their hands.
I would do it too, man.
And it's dedication to the craft, man. And like I find myself complaining about the most bullcrap stuff when it comes to like practicing guitar and not feeling it and having low energy and like
just gotta have that Red Bull.
But I need the white monster.
The white monster.
The white monster comes through.
It's
man.
It's like the white whale. Dude.
But I get so inspired when I hear about the older generation of players and the work that they did for the craft, and
the thing that drives me insane too, man, is like on a recent video, I think he was playing with like, who was he playing with? Like, he's playing with some giants and some guy on his like, on YouTube or Instagram, like started, left like really disparaging comments about Mike's playing. And Mike said he wanted to quit. He thought about quitting guitar. And that is like how toxic.
And the guy's like in his 60s, man.
Dude,
probably.
he's still, listen to him play. Listen to him play right now. And listen how good he sounds, even with that injury. Like that stuff makes me, it just, I want to go put that guy in a headlock and take, I want to find out who said that and destroy it. Like people need to stop that.
I think the story that you just mentioned really touches on like the humanity of what it is to be a musician and how fragile we are and how like you have this moment in time where you're physically and mentally able to like really play the hell out of an instrument or the guitar. And it is a fleeting thing, and you, in my opinion, if you're into guitar, if you're into music and you say that you love it, you should give it all that you have. And you should practice 8, 10, 12 hours a day.
Should practice,
if you can.
You should practice anytime you can pick up an instrument.
Exactly.
Should not be screwing around.
You should never be on the fence about that. If you are, maybe find something else to do.
Dude, there's just so you have to understand, to really.
I'm not trying to gatekeep right now, by the way.
I don't think you are. I'm just telling you the God honest truth, because I've been doing this professionally for a long time, and dude, from where I came from and where I am now and where I need to go, I mean, I have never skimped on that side of it because I know how important it is. I mean, I would play gigs when I played on the cruise ship, and I would go after that gig. I would be like, man, that freaking sucked. I'm gonna go. I would talk to this the stage manager, and he let me sit on stage and just practice for as long as I wanted and go through stuff, even if it was into the morning or whatever. And I just never took that for granted. I never do take it for granted, and I genuinely enjoy it. If you don't like practicing, you should probably think about something else.
No, you have to. It takes a level of like mental toughness to sit in a chair for 8 hours and play an instrument. And you can kind of like I started practicing heavily like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months ago. But the first couple weeks, it was like I was practicing to practice. I was like getting mentally in shape,
prepared
to actually get to the good stuff. You know, you can't get to the good stuff in your first like couple weeks of practice. It's a lot of sounding bad.
You should sound bad in practice.
And being okay with sounding bad. And that's something that a lot of musicians I think struggle with, is like if they're not sounding good and the vibe isn't right, like they don't want to play.
Yeah, well, what I meant by that is like that's not the goal is not to sound like crap, but you should be pushing yourself to where it's something that you're trying to learn. So you're not gonna get that on the first try unless you're like with Jacob Collier or something, you know, like I mean, like
guy's
like
unreal, absolutely
like insane talent, like touched by like, you know,
he's God touched that
something
man.
Is not right there, so it's too good.
What does your practice routine look like, man? Like what kinds of things do you work on?
Okay, so for the past like 2 years, I really worked on. I think naturally an upward pick slanter to where I turn the pick this way, and I worked on really downward pick slanting and studied a lot of gypsy stuff and a lot of bebop guys.
Is that similar to how George Benson picks?
Yes, totally, because he's very downstroke heavy, so it's all, you know, he though is, you know,
underneath like that.
Yeah, he's holding it like this. I have practiced that and I'm okay with it, and that's a cool sound for sure. But I'm trying to do it in my way. I mean, if you look at like guys like Borelli Greene or, you know, some of these gypsy guys, like they're actually like, if the fretboard's here, they're actually their wrist is like this. There's
way out like that.
There's no like content. They're not muting anything.
Oh yeah.
So on electric, you cannot. I tried that. You can't do it, dude. There's too much noise. Like, look at Marty Friedman is really good at controlling that because he's like down here.
Yeah.
But, you know, and just to escape the string, like I think a lot of guitar players make the mistake of doing everything right here.
That's kind of how I am, bro.
No, but you have the tilt. I was looking at it. Like when you
okay.
You know, that it's like an F1 race car. Like when you're taking a corner, you got to take the corner.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming down like this, you're here, and then I'm coming back, and look, you see that little slight wrist rotation?
Yeah.
So even if you're right here, you can do all that stuff. So I really worked on a lot of, from a technical standpoint, a lot of playing like even number of notes per string with a downstroke to where I'm like really like, you know, coming away from the string. I'm not coming here. I'm coming this way and attacking. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Like the best thing to practice is the Neil Schon journey. That thing, and do it across two strings. Figure out how to do that. And then do it the other way, and then play pentatonic scales. Just 2 notes per string. The most simple thing on the planet. For me, that was never simple. I would always start it with an upstroke. I'm like, why can't I play this? And then I realized, oh, it's the way the pick is turned. So
you've been working on picking a lot.
And really, I mean, you made a comment like you're like, oh man, you're picking so percussive. Like that's the result of that. Every note has purpose and is clear. That's what I'm really trying to accomplish. And then from a harmonic standpoint, I've been just studying my thing is I go and learn a lot of bebop stuff.
Yeah. No, like, I can tell. It shows up in your playing, man.
That's where it's at. For me, that's what I want to accomplish. There's some great resources out there, like the Jazz Lessons video stuff. You got to have some type of base to do this. So, like, I think a lot of this, you can't just learn like licks without putting it into practice. You got to like analyze something or analyze a tune and learn how to play over that specific set of changes. So I've been studying like a lot of Cecil Alexander. He's a great modern player. Dan Wilson, guys that really have that picking under control, like super percussive. You know, I was always into the same guys you were, Holdsworth, but like for my hands, it's tough for me to play like that. Like a guy that I really love, Pierre Nielsen, that dude has it together, man, because he can play like Holdsworth, but he's got his own thing, you know?
Yeah.
Just being able to improvise, being able to hear a set of harmonic changes. And then I think a thing that a lot of people neglect on guitar is actual like chord playing is a thing, man. Like you got to be able to play inversions, be able to take a solo just with chords. And that's something that I worked on a ton over the past year, and just really, you know, taking like the best thing to study if you want to get into this stuff is like a jazz blues. Learn how to play the changes to a jazz blues, and then be able to improvise over that, understand what scale is in what relationship to the specific chord, and that will open up an entire world. You could do that for the rest of your life. Like, look at Scott Henderson. He's been, I mean, seriously, he's like on the next frontier. He might as well be on a freaking Star Trek, like, Enterprise version.
Oh, he's so good, man.
He's just, dude, he's like a master of that, though.
Did you listen to his most recent record?
No, I have
It's
not.
It's good, man.
Is it sick?
Yeah, check it out.
He's so far out, dude.
My buddy Steve Davis told me about that.
It's cool.
Record. Yeah, I was sleeping on that record totally. Just a second ago, you were talking about Roy Marchbank. Okay,
Monster. Scary, bro.
People don't know who
Nobody knows who this guy is.
And they need to know. If you like guitar, if you like extreme guitar, if you like the best
it's the
guitar
extremist. It might be a more extreme than Sean Lane. I don't even know. Is that possible or not?
Well, he did some Sean Lane analysis, and he actually covers it. Yeah. Which is, no one has been able to touch.
And he crushes it.
That Sean Lane stuff. There's a guy that I study guitar with named Shane Roberts. He's a Nashville guy.
Oh, no kidding.
You should take some lessons with him,
Is he cool?
He's very cool. He's helped me in so many ways. Not only
definitely.
with guitar.
Would love to.
But he can play like Roy Marchbank and like Sean Lane, and he does crazy stuff like with the guitar.
And he's here?
And he's here, man.
No
he's in East
way,
Nashville.
bro.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, several of my friends have studied guitar with him, and he's a savant level type guy. Knows as much about guitar. He knows about philosophy and several other disciplines.
No way.
He's gone super far.
And
with.
his technique is together.
Yeah,
huh?
he doesn't, does not live I would say a normal life. He's committed to this extreme guitar playing.
Does he play out at all or not?
No, he's got some health complications.
Oh, brutal, bro.
But he's awesome. Yeah, I see him about once a week.
Are you serious?
Just online,
you still study this with this guy?
Yeah.
Can you take in-person lessons or not?
I used to. Yeah. Many years ago. I took in-person lessons, but during the pandemic, he kind of switched things more online.
So he's just doing online.
And I live in Clarksville, so it's like an hour away.
So is he like a Marshall Harrison type player?
Dude, yeah. He can play just like these guys. He's studied like Holdsworth, Benson. He loves Mike Stern. Like he knows. He's helping me get to where I want to be with the guitar.
So what is give me an example of the most recent lesson. Like, what did you cover, or what does he have you do?
Well, we're doing classical improvisation. So what I'll do is I'll learn a part of a Bach piece, or he got me hip to Scriabin. So I've been listening to a lot of Scriabin, which is it's almost like early jazz music in a way.
Okay.
Scriabin
is that atonal or
it's not. It's not. It's it's probably it's modern classical music. It's like Debussy, Eric Satie, Stravinsky kind of era stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit later than that, but it's pre-modern classical music. So he got me hip to Scriabin, who I love his stuff, but so do jazz musicians. So I will learn some melodies of Scriabin, and then what I'm trying to do now is improvise like him, or improvise like Bach.
How do you do that, bro?
Well, you play their content, and then you just take an idea. You would know how to do this, and then diatonicize or play a concept diatonically. And
does he listen to Ted Greene?
Yeah, dude.
Dude. I mean, because that's what it's making me think of.
Baroque style improvisation. Yeah, there's a book. Actually, I very conveniently have this book right here.
There it is.
It's called The Chord Chemist, My Life with the Chord Chemist.
I can't believe you have that.
This is written by, her name is Barbara Franklin, and she was the one who spent the most time with Ted. She was kind of his lover, but they were kind of platonic in a way.
Okay, that makes total
their relationship, because Ted was, I think, on the spectrum.
Definitely.
But this man is one of the greatest
Nobody
guitar
even knows
players.
his name.
Well, some people do. Dean Lamb knows who Ted Greene is, and
he should definitely.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying the general public. I would say the Insta Shred.
This is the greatest guitar player of all time. Who he can improvise and sound like Bach, but it's on a guitar.
Yes, he's insane.
You can even imagine what that would sound like.
Just sitting there like this, literally like this.
Yeah, he could sit. The solo jazz thing, he mastered that, and knows everything about like early gospel music from 60s and 70s. He grew up listening to that. But yeah, Ted,
how do we get to that? How do we get? I don't know, man.
Level? We're transitioning at a rapid pace here. Oh, can we get to that level, like you and me?
Can we achieve that or not?
Man, I hope so. Like you just have to commit yourself to working on it, and I will say this, man. The way that our society is, it's not complimentary to doing things like this.
Can't do it.
You know what I mean? Like, and
he lived in an apartment with books stacked up.
Yeah,
like one room.
VHS tapes and books stacked to the ceiling, and he had kind of a thing where he would constantly reorganize his stuff. He was like, I think he had kind of a thing where he felt like he needed to like reorganize his books constantly.
Dude, you never are resting when you're like that.
They talk about it in this book, and this, even if you're not like a guitar player per se, you could read this book and it would be you would feel loved and endeared personally as a human being just by reading this book and learning about this man.
Dude, I have a lot of those OCD tendencies, bro.
Like what?
Like that. Like just like you come in, you're like, I got to do this.
You got to clean the door handles 15 times.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to. My dad is very OCD. He'll rearrange the freaking dishwasher. Like,
if someone stacks it wrong.
Oh, dude, and it's not even wrong. It's like perfectly stacked, and he'll still rearrange it.
Oh,
and he'll put a trash bag inside a trash bag. So yes,
double bag, dude.
Dude, condom.
Dad always double bags it.
Trash bag condom.
Because it spilled once.
What is happening, bro? Is it like just you're turning into like an old,
dude, my dad, when we go home to visit my parents, my parents live in Iowa, like in a very remote area.
Is that where you're from originally?
I'm from the Chicago suburbs.
Okay, so you grew up there.
But my folks moved there when I was like graduated college. They kind of moved out there because Illinois taxes are crazy and property taxes are.
Dude.
Yeah, New Jersey's worse, but
brutal.
They moved out to this place called Guttenberg, Iowa. So I wish I could get there more throughout the year, cool? But it's like 10 hours away from here. But I was gonna say my dad is like the vacuuming king.
Oh,
he vacuums
my God,
all the time, dude. And I'm kind of like that too. Like my wife never vacuums, dude. Like ever. Shh. But dude, if I see stuff
dirt
on the floor, I gotta vacuum it up. But
does the sound drive you wild? That's the one thing. Like
you put your Apple AirPod.
Yeah, that's the way.
Put those in and listen to a podcast, and it's like, shh, you don't hear anything.
My mom has vacuum muscles, dude. Like she actually has biceps from vacuuming. Dude, just vacuums so
crazy.
much.
Dude, what is your family like, man? Because were they encouraging with the music stuff early on?
I'm the only one in the family that does music.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the only one who does music in my family.
I don't think they understand it at all, to be honest with you. But they have been unbelievably supportive. Like, dude. I mean, like, and they for two people that don't understand at all what this life is like, but appreciate the arts a lot.
Yeah,
they have been. When I said, "Hey, I'm moving to Nashville," they're like, "You should."
That's cool.
You should try.
My parents were supportive, and they did early on. Like I joined a metalcore band that was based out of Kansas, and it was a small time band that we just wanted to tour and try to. I was in my early 20s, so it made a little bit more sense back then. But and then shortly after that, I moved to Nashville. My parents were always supportive. They bought me guitars, cool amps, and but I do feel different from my family in a lot of ways, and just to the type.
They'll never understand that.
Yeah, and that's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah,
it is okay. But the fact that they're just, I really want to. I came here to really be doing this. Like I have done music full time for almost my entire life until like the last couple of years where I took a job in the fishing industry, which is crazy.
I was like taken aback by that when he did that, but I was like, hey man, he needed it. He needs a job. He needs to make some money.
And so, dude, it's been a really eye-opening. I'll
never shame the hustle, man.
It was an eye-opening experience. I saw that the music industry really took a crap during COVID. I lost every gig that I had lined up, and I had some crazy. Dude, I was playing with a really cool fusion band called Surreal Measures. We never that killed COVID killed the band, you know?
Yeah.
We had some stuff booked in New York.
Killed a lot of things and it kind of reframed. It was hard to be a musician before the pandemic, but it's like slightly, maybe even more. Yeah, it's harder.
Well, I think. I really have no interest in doing the online musician like in your face, you know,
YouTube kind of thing.
What you're doing is really sick. But you're trying to do, you know, you have your own thing that you've worked out. Like, I made my living for so long playing live all over the freaking map that it's tough for me to sit there. It's not the same magic when you're sitting there recording a video of you playing some crazy thing. Like, there's something to be said for that, and I think you got to do it to keep up with the Joneses. And I think it's a really good way to be a video. It's a video journal for your practice sessions, which is phenomenal because you can look back and be like, "Oh my god, I played that." Yeah. Like, it's just some stuff I played from 3 years ago. I'm like, man, why didn't I explore this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty cool, you know. Yeah. But like, it's so shameful to me that Instagram, because the algorithm is always changing, and man, I sound so bitter for this, or bitter about this, and that's not my intention, but like, you know, you put something up that you think you have pride in to actually put out there, and like, you're like, wow, okay, cool, like this is acceptable, because you know it's so competitive and everyone talks shit and everyone's gonna comment, oh, that's the wrong note, you know, you have these armchair cowboys that have never played a live show in their life saying that's not right, and you put something out and then it gets like 24 likes and you're like, I did something wrong. Like, your first inclination is like, you didn't put up good content, but that's not true. Maybe it's great content, but our society is programmed. It's given us this
optics. Yeah,
it's garbage.
Well, are other people liking this?
It's garbage.
If they are, I'll like it too.
It is garbage. And if you like the wrong things on Instagram, it doesn't, you know, it works against you. I don't know, man.
There's really no formula other than consistency that I think, like,
I agree with that.
And unfortunately, the style of guitar improvisation that we like, it's fusion, jazz fusion shred.
It's lame to everyone.
And it's not technically cool, you know.
No.
But I'm committed to continuing to do it because I love it.
Me too.
And I also love like extreme, like brutal death metal, which is different from like metalcore and deathcore. I also play in a deathcore band, but that style of metal is different from what is popular too. So it's like I've like pigeonholed myself into being this very obscure fan. But what is cool about the internet, though, that I should say, is that you will connect with other people that like the same thing as you.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy.
Like we were just talking a second ago. We're tuned to the same channel. You know? Two guitar players that love fusion, that play changes, that are committed to the craft and
trying to get better, man.
Yeah,
always.
Like I have to get better, man.
I do too.
I'm getting old.
Dude, you're telling me, bro.
So,
but you know, like it's interesting. I mean, I respect the commitment to all these extreme genres. Like, in the past few years, I played with pop people and I've really enjoyed it. Like, I played with this dude, Jesse Kinch, that won Rising Star. He's won a national TV show. And, you know, I got a chance to go shred in front of 17,000 people in a stadium opening up for Little Big Town in Salinas, California.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, that
rules.
That was cool, man. And, you know, he gave me a spot to like actually take a solo and really shred. And I was playing my custom shop Strat that I was talking about before that we based that Pasquale on.
Yeah.
And it was cool, man. I looked out, it's man. I don't want to sound a certain way, but dude, my time in the metal world, and I love the genre, but dude, it has not been very nice to me.
It wasn't fun. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
just the what I received in terms of the treatment. It is what it is, but I don't feel like I was really accepted in that realm. I felt like that was very.
You were kind of in a tech death, like prog, or maybe a prog metal band called Circuitry, right?
Yeah, it was all those things, and it's just really people did not like it, and it was like we got compared to Periphery, and that is not what I like, dude. I listen to Sixth,
Yeah.
So of course there's gonna be some crossover there, and
like we are the same age as Misha Mansour, and just because we didn't ride the wave of his success when we were his same age doesn't mean that we're trying to do the same thing he is.
No,
you know what I mean? And I think people like kind of interpret things.
But I was at Berkeley with freaking Casey Sable, who sang on the
Casey lives in Nashville.
Yeah, I know.
I've hung with him before.
I got to link up with him. He's cool dude.
He's a fun guy. Yeah.
We used to jam, dude. But like it was when I was at Berkeley, nobody was doing that genre, like really, and like we were listening to like. I'm not saying that I was on the forefront of this because there's, but I was at least influenced with that, by that stuff at a really early time in that genre. And I was listening to, dude, the bands I was listening to were like Red Chord, like Dillinger Escape Plan, like the original Dillinger, because they're from New Jersey. Nobody knew who they were really then as much as they do now.
Band, groundbreaking.
Yeah, incredible.
Dude, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I was in the dorm listening to Catch 33, and then Obzen came out, and me and all the musician homies and the drummers, and we sat on the floor and listened to Obzen from start to finish.
Okay, so when that came out, I worked at Berkeley Groove. I was the associate editor with at the paper.
Nice.
And we got an advanced copy of Obzen that was just, it was the
PG-13 version of the cover.
The monster on the back. Yeah. It was just a clear, there was no cover. They had no liner notes or anything. It was just a clear cover. And on the back you saw that, and we just put it in there. And I was just like, dude, what's the Combustion? What's the first tune on it? Yeah.
Yeah. Combustion.
Insane. That's like one of my favorite Meshuggah tunes. And I heard that and I'm like, God, that is so next level, man. And I was like a massive fan, and Casey was too, because we used to talk about this.
Oh man,
we were
just
there.
Go on a drive just to listen to that record. Oh man,
dude, Death of a Dead Day by Sixth. Like, there would be no Periphery without that record. Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not possible. Sixth is the most underrated, like, progressive extreme band of probably all time. They're so good. They're such good players. They were one of the original ones that were really focused on the musicianship. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know if you feel like this too, but like metal right now is almost like, it's almost like jazz was in the 50s, in a sense, because it's so, it's so groundbreaking, and people are doing all this new stuff and trying to push envelopes, and it's popular. Like, it's underground. It's not like a mainstream, like, hey, let's go listen to bebop like it was, because there wasn't as much music back then. But dude, there's a massive contingent that listens to metal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Metal is, I think it's considered the fastest growing genre and has been for several years. And I think it's amazing. And there's new bands popping up left and right. There's so many
good bands.
And I think it's because you can do anything you want in metal. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you can draw any influence, you can do any sort of avant-garde thing. There's so many different flavors of it.
Well, dude, look at what Holdsworth has become for that. Like, even in the solos I was laying down during the Circuitry time, like, dude, if you listen to them, you're like, oh yeah, Holdsworth.
Yeah.
There it is. Like, there's the influence.
He's been so influential to my playing, and
he really has it down, dude. Like I don't have that down at all because I don't have the hands for it. But like I'm, the phrasing is great, dude.
Well, I think I discovered the connection between like Friedrich Thorndahl and Holdsworth. Listening as I kind of listened back to the older Meshuggah records, I kind of discovered like there's a song called Synaptic Plasticity or Synaptic Plasticity is the name of that song.
Dude, it's literally Holdsworth.
Me and my drummer friend Dave Oriente from way back in the day, we would like listen to that over and over again and be like, isn't it cool how he's bending the strings like that? And then like I kind of like, the Rock Discipline DVD by Petrucci, he mentions Holdsworth on there, and I was like, who is this Alan Holdsworth guy?
Van Halen.
And then I did some research, and I think I remember downloading a PDF of Reaching for the Uncommon Chord.
Oh, dude, that's hard to understand.
Getting
too.
like a bootleg of that in like, this is probably 2008.
That's probably when I was looking at it too. That's so funny, man.
And trying to make my hands play those chords on the tune Home.
Yeah. And
just being like...
You covered it, right?
I did do a cover of
sick.
it. You can check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, he nailed it, man.
Yeah. I'm basically using all the voicings that are from... I altered a few of them.
But just to learn that, to take the time to actually do that, dude.
I remember actually like, for the first time, sweating in my bedroom back in my home I was raised in, trying to play those chords and being like, why do I feel so like bad right now? I feel very challenged. I'm sweating. I'm uncomfortable. But I knew
hands are so big, bro.
Exactly. His hands are huge. But I knew that I had to learn that. I knew that it was something. It was like, this is the secret to the best music.
Isn't it cool how he sacks like a power chord on the low strings and one on the high string? That to me was like, I was like, oh yeah.
Or just playing a 6-string chord, with tapping tapped notes and then brushing it with your thumb,
Dude, he just insane.
Yeah, so many groundbreaking things that he did. Well, let me ask you this, Christian. Like, what are some of your goals? You just moved to Nashville. You kind of just got here a couple weeks ago, and what?
No, literally, this is my first week. It's not even.
It's your first week in Nashville.
4 days. I played a wedding on the way down with my good friend Joel Norman, who I play with in this dueling piano band called Savage Piano. Dude,
Savage Pianos?
Savage Pianos is an insane group of musicians, dude. It's all like, music school kids and like just really talented. He doesn't put a bad musician up there. I've learned so much from playing that gig and just getting thrown. Dude, there's no set list. It's just whatever request comes up, you got to be able to play it. You got to be able to improvise over it.
Yeah, you were telling me about this.
It's really, dude, it's there's no, sink or swim, man.
Yeah.
And there's some really talented dudes and girls in there that are just, man, they just push you to the next level. And Joel had me on this wedding. This guy is a freaking monster, dude. Just an insane, like, piano, insane everything, like great guitar player, but just an unbelievable force on piano. Plays like all the stride stuff, all the gospel stuff, all jazz crushes. Like, talk about playing changes, like,
And what is this cat's name?
Joel Norman.
Joel Norman?
Yeah.
And is he a New Jersey guy, a Nashville guy, an
dude,
everywhere guy?
He's in Indiana. So I basically, here's how I did this. This is hilarious. I put all my stuff in storage because I lived in Syracuse doing the fishing thing the last year. I'm still working there, by the way. I'm just doing it remotely. I have all my contacts. It's been going great so far. I put all my stuff in storage. I packed a few guitars and a few, essentials, and basically rented and fully furnished Airbnb in East Nashville. And Joel's like, hey, want to play this wedding on October 6th or October 5th? I'm like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll book a 4-month stay in Nashville to see if I can.
Yeah. Is there a set list that he sends you? Like, what does he send you?
For this one, he sent a set list. He sent a set list because this was a band of like, with the Savage Pianos crew, I've played with, there's like, it's very specialized. So there's like a group of 10 or 12 people that I play with. So we all know each other at this point. And but again, never know what songs are playing. And let me tell you something. If you have to play like piano music, like Billy Joel, like New York State of Mind, like
dude,
that's
as a guitar
standard.
player, you're getting
it's a
your
standard.
ass kicked.
No, it's awesome, dude.
Oh,
it's
is it?
So cool, dude, because it's just like when you start hearing those changes in the modulations, you would love it, dude, because you're playing changes.
I would love it, but I would be struggling.
Oh, dude, it's yeah,
but
yeah. I
that's
mean,
probably what I need.
Yeah, you need to struggle out there. I mean, dude, you could struggle trying to recreate some of these solos. Try to play the Sweet Home Alabama solo, the real solo.
There's no way.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Oh,
dude, those guys
and G minor,
and they rehearsed the heck out of that. They played that solo every single time they played live. That was the solo they played. Like, I watched a documentary on them because I was like, dude, this is hard. Like, this is not
so
easy.
The Sweet Home Alabama recorded solo is like what the dudes played live.
They played it live. They never deviated. They played that note for note like a metal band would do.
No,
they did not improvise that. And those lines are so worked out if you listen to it that it's just like, dude, it's very bizarre what they're doing too, because it's really not, you can screw around in D.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's nuts actually. Like, learn some of that stuff. And
ass kicking.
Dude, Joel had me down there in Indiana, bro, and he was like, hey, I was like, this is a perfect segue. I'll move to Nashville right afterwards. He goes, love it. So I stayed at his house for a day. I got there, we like ran through the tunes. He turns to me, he's like, bro, we only got like an hour of material. I'm like, dude, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. He's like, yeah, cool. And we went and we crushed that wedding.
How many hours did you have to play?
Dude, that was a wacky wedding because the caterers didn't show up. So it was a disaster.
Oh,
so everyone was scrambling.
People were freaking out.
Oh, people were freaking out. I'd say we play like 2 hours, probably. Nothing. Like dude, the wedding I played a wedding in Maine like 2 weeks ago. With the Savage Piano Screws, we played for 7 hours, dude. We just never stopped playing. We played a ton of tunes.
Did you get extra pay for that, or
they treat us, dude. They pay really well.
They hooked you up.
They always treat us well, and they're appreciative. And I wanted to play like for me, I could, like we just did and played 3 hours. Yeah, that's nothing for me, man.
Dude,
if my hands can take it, I'll play all night.
Dude, I've really enjoyed hanging out with you, man. Like, talk about what's on the horizon with you, what you hope to do in Nashville. I mean, you've got a background in music tech. You've done the cover scene thing. You've played for artists. You know a lot of people in the guitar world. And you're a shredder, man. You can play pretty much anything, But what do you want to do while you're here, man?
I don't want to work in the music tech world ever again.
Oh, okay.
If I can help it.
If
I can help it. I think I tried to make that was a really cool opportunity, and I think we're onto something. And again, like, shout out to Patrick Flores, Colin Bevan, Ryan Keller. We really, if you go back and search through the Eventide archives and check out.
Yeah, you did a lot of videos for
those videos were cool, and I'm actually very proud. Like, I just rewatched them, and that was all original music that we composed for that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think anybody else was really doing that at that time period. Maybe to a lesser extent, someone was, but not to that production level. And I think if they stayed the course on that, I think we would have done something, but they just, it's an older owner that didn't really intelligent dude, classic, timeless person, timeless force in the music industry that changed the whole thing.
We've all heard Eventide effects on all the great records.
Everything. Time alignment. They basically,
iconic stuff, man.
So I'll never disparage that, but I mean,
hey,
listen, I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I was endorsed by Strandberg at that time period. They didn't like me playing a headless guitar in the videos.
Yeah.
And I got crap from like our marketing director and social media.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
Well,
I take that so personally, and I still do to this day.
That's just the headless thing, man. I feel the same way. It's funny you mention that, man, because I'm a very serious guitar player, and the best guitar that I have, the one that I love playing the most, is a headless guitar. It just is.
Well,
but for some reason, people, even other guitar players, they look down upon it.
Listen with your ears, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. What else can you say?
And I think it was a beautiful instrument. It was super resonant. I mean, those two Strandbergs that I was playing during that Eventide video period, they were literally prototypes. They were USA build prototypes that nobody has. I have number 2 and maybe number 1 for the 7. They're 2 burl tops. They're unbelievably resonant, incredible instruments built by Desert Sun that, I think it's a father and son duo. They both were Fano guitars.
Design team, or
it's literally they build Fano guitars and they've been like custom guitar building forever.
Fano guitars are great, man.
Yes.
And Novo, I think, is the company now.
Okay. Yes.
Associated.
Yes. I don't know if they're still, I don't know what their deal is, but I know that they built the USA Select series. And I would say probably my Strandberg collection, I have all the USA built. I have like the Bodens that were made with the Koa bodies that were made by the Washburn factory. So like I don't have any of the stuff before they outsourced to overseas. And by the way, those guitars are great. But I'm just saying these are such crazy guitars and they were they sounded incredible.
Yeah.
And
you let me play one that had an enduro neck at Namm, and what a great guitar, man.
That's right. That was a loaner that they gave me for that. But that was a USA Select guitar,
what
dude.
A cool guitar.
So
man.
You played literally, I mean, I would say maybe probably under 50 people have those guitars, dude. That's a crazy axe to have. And I felt like, I mean, not for nothing, but dude, I graduated Berklee College of Music. I went all over the place, played all over the freaking world. That's what I did. And I was like, why should that matter?
I think in the music world,
why should that matter?
It's like you kind of have to restart on every gig almost. You kind of have to like reprove yourself. Like that's what it seems like.
You're only as good as your last gig, and that's the God honest.
There you go. That
kind of stink. That's the other part that stinks about being a musician. Like if you got caught at the wrong time period, like look at Mike Stern. He wanted to quit music because some guy, thought he was picking sloppy or something. Didn't know his situation
because he has nerve damage.
Dude, even with the nerve damage, you could never, dude.
You couldn't tell.
No.
Yeah.
He's still crushing. I mean, he's got the years behind him. But like that's what I'm saying. That's why, dude, we're putting ourselves out on the line, living a really tough life with not a lot of monetary reward, but a lot of philosophical reward and a lot of, I mean, some of the best times I've ever had have been by myself in my crappy apartment or whatever it is, my one room, figuring out or overcoming something that I couldn't play the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been some of the most enlightening, almost religious experiences that I'm lucky enough to have. And I don't think a lot of the world will ever understand what that's like. And that's a crazy thought. I mean, who am I to say that that's, I'm not saying that that's the path you should be on, but I think for me, that unique path has been incredibly rewarding. And if I checked out tomorrow, I'd be totally happy with what I've accomplished.
Yeah. Well, you're getting better as a musician and as a creative person. And you're sort of like surpassing who you were just moments before in those times.
That's the key.
And I think that's really powerful. And unfortunately, what this world values is, financial success, sexual success.
Dude, that's Instagram. That's Instagram.
Sexual success, right? And they don't honor or value spiritual success or the success in a given craft. You know what I mean? And especially not music, whatever. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of throwing some thoughts around.
Dude, when you open up Instagram, do you, when you first go on, like if you click it on and you're on the homepage, do you just see like basically like a a Hollywood Square style grid of just people going like this, like
yeah.
That's what I'm looking at, and I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out of here, dude. Like I can't do it. It's also so unhealthy because you're comparing what you should never do. What you should never do as an artist or someone a musician trying to get to a place that only you can get to is compare yourself to another player. Be inspired? Yes. Hold yourself accountable? Sure. But what you can't do is look at that and be like, man, I have no validity. And that is what this culture has done.
Yeah.
And it is disgusting.
Well, I think your validity has to come from something else, man. It has to come from God. That's just where I'm at personally.
Or spirituality.
And then the guitar is an extension of that, right? You are a human, you are a spiritual human being, and you have this opportunity to create as God creates, right? So does his creation. So that's where I'm at with it.
No, and that's phenomenal, man. And that's exemplary. But like, okay, so like going back to our improv session there, I mean, we're listening to each other play, right? Like
I wasn't. I was just listening to me.
Because you're your own God.
Yeah,
no,
that's
I'm just
right.
Kidding. But could you ever? I mean, I would never conceptualize the lines you were playing, but I did use them as starting points to do what I can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I saw there was a moment in there where I played there was the only time I ever played it through our like 17 takes of this tune that we just got today. But I played like a sixth, it was like a sixth bass line in hybrid picking, and I noticed that you extended it, like you did your own version of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I saw you doing that. That was on the bridge, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I saw you catch it because you're like, oh, that's something new.
And then I was doing like I did some sixth stuff at some point in another part of the tune, but I was hybrid picking, but doing it on the lower string, so you couldn't freaking hear it. Like, I don't know why I was doing it down there, but in one of the takes I did that. But no, man, I think if we played together a lot more,
you'd hear way more.
We would be, because you've got this bebop thing happening in your playing too.
Yeah, totally.
That I'm not super hip to, but like your vocabulary is just different from mine, and it was fun.
Definitely.
I think the juxtaposition of the two was pretty cool. And,
it was super fun for me.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the song at the beginning of the video. So.
Yeah, and like it was cool. I mean, just a little bit on that real quick. Like, it's cool because he's like, hey, like, maybe harmonize this part. Like, here, I'm playing this melody, and I'm like, okay.
We spent like 20 minutes on it, and you harmonized it.
Yeah,
and
man.
It was killer, man.
It was cool. And hopefully we'll do some more of that stuff, man. We can.
That would be so fun. Yeah.
I'm down, man. I'm down.
Let's make it happen. But Christian, dude, it's been awesome reconnecting with you, man, and hanging out. Like, this is crazy. This podcast thing is weird. I know it's different, but I really enjoy making these videos. I spent so many years making gear videos, and those are great too. And I like connecting with people with gear, but talking to other musicians about the craft and about playing is really on another level for me. So I'm just floored at what we were able to do in just a few hours, and dude, I wish you the best with everything you got going.
You too,
in
man.
Nashville. It's going to be a wacky journey, man. It's going to be a freaking circus.
My first week here,
you've got it, man.
It's already a circus, man. I can tell.
Real quick before you go, what are your thoughts on East Nashville? Just give us an outsider's perspective.
First thought, I'm in LA.
I'm back in LA.
That was my first thought because my brother lives in LA. I was like, oh my God. I did not expect that, but it's super cool. Like I walked my first day here. I walked 9 miles in what's the park
Shelby
called?
Park.
Shelby Park.
Yeah, man. You got.
I was checking it out.
Experienced.
Looking at the Cumberland River, and dude, it's so similar to LA because so many people are so image conscious and like in shape, which is great, man. But it's just like I was like, what is happening right now?
It ain't like the Midwest out here, dude. That's funny, man. That's
so funny.
That's crazy.
I was at the Frothy Monkey too, man. And everyone's very nice down here. I have to say, like, coming from the north, I spent the last year in Syracuse, and I enjoyed my time there. They're just kind of, I mean, I don't know.
There's a coldness there, maybe an impersonality.
I felt I felt Jersey, my degree of warmth would be like, I'd say Nashville, very warm, Jersey here, Syracuse here.
Oh, man.
Syracuse is brutal for me, dude.
Jeez. So, it's different strokes for different folks.
It's a cool place, though. I mean, again, like, just, it's very Twin Peaks. There's a lot of Native American spirituality there, and there's beautiful nature, and there are very good people there. It just
Syracuse?
It takes them a while to warm up. You gotta speak their language. They're not as, and I like that. It's more like you gotta almost prove yourself. So I think it's a cool spot.
I'd love to spend more time in the Northeast. You know what I mean?
It's a cool area, man.
Well, guys, thank you for watching Shred Sessions, episode 11. Christian Colabelli. What a great dude to hang with. Hopefully you learned something in this video, or you got something good out of it. Like the video. Basically, you're showing me the door if you don't like this video, and it kind of tanks the whole thing. So please like the video. Leave a comment if there's something we talked about that you'd enjoyed in this video. Hey, it's been cool hanging out. It's been cool making this video. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at in the world, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Peace.